Hello and welcome. Good morning to all the sisters and brothers in today's session of Young Indian Theosophists, organized by the Indian section of the Theosophical Society. And we have a very interesting session today. And I hope I'm your host today. I'm the moderator today. And I hope that this session will be of really great use and it will be valuable for all of us because it's related to a very practical subject. And after that, after the deliberation, we can have discussion and some question and answers about the subject. But before we start our session, let us all come together in heart and mind and invoke that immutable principle in which we live, we move, and have our being. What we also know as the universal prayer. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May all who feel themselves as one with thee know they are therefore one with every other. Thank you, everyone. Welcome back. And as I was saying, today we have a very interesting subject to study about, and also a very young, enthusiastic YITN, I would say, that is Young Indian Theosophist, to present that subject with us. And we have today among us Sister Smitapragyan, who is a very active young Indian Theosophist, and not only since the online sessions were started, but even before, since many years, she has been working, encouraging others, giving inspiration to other young members, and bringing more young uh, people into the Theosophical Society and introducing them to Theosophy. She is the president of the Pythagoras Youth Lodge in Utkal Theosophical Federation, and she is a member of the Theosophical Society since 2006. Currently, she is working as Senior Product Specialist at BPL Medical Technologies Private Limited. In the past, she has organized many youth programs in Bhubaneswar, in Bhavali, in Hyderabad, and she is also one of the editors of the youth magazine, Sophia. She has attended many international conventions at Adyar, and at one of such conventions, she was also invited to share her experiences in the concluding session. She is always willing to offer her services for any theosophical work, and as far as I know her, she is not only reading and studying theosophy, but always trying to implement it in her daily life and try to deal with all the situations, whether the good times or the difficult times, with a theosophical approach. And the subject that she's going to share with us today also relates to that which is method and meaning of a spiritual life. So without taking any more time, I invite Sister Smitapragyan to throw her thoughts on this subject based on the Animation book. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Shikhar. Thanks for the nice introduction. And I welcome you all from on behalf of YIT. And Namaste, I'm Smitapragyan. So today my topic is the meaning and method of spiritual life. So before going to that, uh, what is the meaning of spiritual? And to understand it, we need to understand the difference between spirit and soul. So, unity is the keynote of spirit, while separateness is the principle of the soul. Soul is conscious about our intellectual nature, while spirit is conscious about our spiritual nature. When the intellect sees I and mine, the spirit sees unity, where the intellect strives to develop itself and assert itself as separate. The spirit sees itself in all things and regards all forms as equally as its own. So, spirit is the life of the consciousness which recognizes unity, which sees oneself in everything and every being. The spiritual life is the life which, looking into the infinite number of phenomena, pierces through the veil of Maya and sees the one and the eternal within each changing form. To know the self, to love the self, to realize the self, that and that alone is spirituality. According to an old Eastern book, the man who sees the oneself in everything and all things in the self, he seeth, verily he seeth, all else is blindness. The sense of separation, while necessary for evolution, is fundamentally a mistake. The separateness is only like the branch that grows out of the trunk. The unity of the life of the tree passes into every branch and makes them all one. It is the consciousness of that oneness which is the consciousness of the spirit. The method of finding the self is cease to do evil, learn to do right. And to do this, we need knowledge, proper knowledge. Only knowledge won't work. We need to understand the truth behind it, analyze it. And most important thing is action. Not only action, but the right action. Right action is to promote moral, honorable, and peaceful conduct. We know that in Noble Eightfold Path, it is one of the path what Buddha said, the right action. So, right action encompasses the 5 precepts: abstain yourself from killing, abstain from stealing, not to lie, abstain from sexual misconduct, abstain from intoxicants. So, knowledge is necessary to act. Not only knowledge, but understanding and analysis also. A giant ship engine failed. The ship's owners tried one expert after another, but none of them could figure out how to fix the engine. Then they brought in an old man who had been fixing ships since he was young. He carried a large bag of tools with him, and when he arrived, he immediately went to work. He inspected the engine very carefully, top to bottom. 2 of the ship's owners were there, watching this man, hoping he would know what to do. After looking things over, the old man reached into his bag and pulled out a small hammer. He gently tapped something. Instantly, the engine lurched into life. He carefully puts his hammer away. The engine was fixed. A week later, the owner received a bill from the old man for 10,000. What? The owners exclaimed. He hardly did anything. So they wrote the old man a note saying, please send us an itemized bill. The man sent the bill that read, tapping with hammer, 2 rupees. Knowing where to tap, 9,998 rupees. So we all have knowledge. but we need to know where to tap. No one who is slothful, who is unintelligent, who is lacking in devotion can find the self. And it is also said that the self is not found by knowledge nor by devotion, but by knowledge wedded to devotion. These are the two wings that lift us up into the spiritual world. If we have devotion, but we don't have proper knowledge, then also it is very dangerous. See, people are nowadays, we see people are very devoted, but what they do, they don't have proper knowledge. They don't know where to tap. They don't know who to approach. So nowadays, you can see so many fake babas are there, those who misguide people. So only devotion is not important. Knowledge is important. So now we know what is spiritual life. And in order to evolve the life of the spirit, we need to search for the knowledge of the law, which shall enable the consciousness to unfold so that it may recognize its unity with all consciousness everywhere. But in the process of unfolding spiritual nature, we misinterpret and draw a line of division between the life of the world and the life of the spirit. Because of this misunderstanding, people in many ages have left the world in order to find the divine. They have gone to deserts, forests, caves, mountains, solitary plains, imagining that by giving up what they called world, the life of spirit might be secured. But if God is all pervading, omnipresent, then divinity must be everywhere and in everything, in the forest as well as in the marketplace, in the solitary plain as well as in the court of law. If we search all pervading life away from the humanity, then that is a sign of weakness, not spirituality. It is not heroic asking for solitude in seeking the spiritual life. True heroes of spiritual life avoid no place and no person. They are not afraid of polluting their garments, for they have woven them of stuff that cannot be soiled. Example, lotus leaves. When water drop falls on lotus leaves, it won't stay on it for long of because of the super hydrophobic surface of the leaf. Water drops fall on lotus leaf, roll off easily, due to which it always keeps itself clean. The lotus grows in water, but still the leaf repels waters. Similarly, a true spiritual person can still be detached from any kind of emotions, desires, attachments of the worldly life. We think if we leave everything, then we can attain the sannyas. Because of that, because of this misconception, misunderstanding, people leave the family life, everything. But the real yoga, the real tapasya, you can say, is staying with the family, with the society, and controlling your anger, controlling your emotions. And you can observe with the family, with staying with the family only, we can understand what kind of lower nature we have, where we are getting tempted, in which situation we are getting tempted, in which situation we are getting angry, in which situation we are getting worried. And the love, the hatred, everything we feel staying with the family and with the society, because everybody can love their family. But if you stay with the society, then we will understand, we think that we are very loving, we are very kind, but staying with the society, we know that, am I really loving, am I really caring, am I really kind? When we see a person who is a criminal, or maybe a person who is a thief, and the person who is not kind, am I really that? Then also, am I kind to that person, or I'm loving to that person? In this situation, I know that, am I really a saint, or am I really faking it? So a real sannyasi, he lives as if everything is his and leaves as if nothing was his. So example, we know that King Janak, so he was known as Rajarshi. What is Rajarshi? Means he was the king as well as a saint, because though he was surrounded by all luxurious things and family, but he was not attached with it. To attain spiritual life, we pass two stages. We do all that need to be done because it is our duty, renouncing, and second, renouncing the fruit of action. So when we do our duty, we expect something. When we are, when, because we have not reached to that level that we will do something without expectation. That is fine. That is a stage. That is a stage of evolution. But when we will overcome that, when we do our duty for the sake of duty without expecting anything, that is the first stage of your spiritual growth. And then you are renouncing the fruit of action. Whatever you are doing, you are not expecting anything. Whatever you are doing, you are giving your best, and whatever happens, that is, you will not bother about it, you will not worried about it. So that is the second thing. And so expecting the fruit is necessary for the evolution, because to grow we have some activity, we need some activities, because without activity we can't evolve. Without effort and struggle, we float in the backwaters of life and make no progress along the river. We desire power, struggle for it. After attaining it, we strive for more power. Put effort and attain. After attainment, we look for new achievement. This process goes on, and this keeps us alive and active. But when the spirit begins to stir and seek its own manifestation, then fruit, prize, result lose their attractive power. We see duty instead of fruit as motive, and then we work for duty's sake. As part of the one great life, we work with all energy of those who work for fruit. In this context, I would like to quote from Light on the Path: kill out ambition, but work as those who are ambitious. When one cares only for duty, work with the strength of divinity, then we know that it's not we who is working. We know that we are the channel of the great power, that the great power is doing everything through us. When we are transparent, the love, the power, the energy of the divine flows through us and spreads to the world, to the humanity, to our fellow being. So we need to be transparent, as clean as water, so that when the sunlight falls on it, it passes through the crystal clear water to reach to the bottom of it, and everything is seen clearly. So when we do our duty, remembering that we are only a channel for the divine power to flow through us to the world. When you do our duty without any expectation, when it is done for the sake of duty, it adds joy to it, and then comes laws of sacrifice. After one has practiced the laws of duty, the law of sacrifice lifts him upwards and enables him to reach union with the divine. Now, a question may arise. We practiced laws of duty and renounced the fruit of action. then is sacrifice necessary? I would say you have already stepped towards law of sacrifice by renouncing the fruit of action. When you do your duty for the sake of doing it, not expecting anything in return, you have realized the joy of giving. We enjoy by giving. You know why? Because it's our true nature. Now question comes, how? The universe in which we live itself originated in an act of sacrifice, in the limitation of the Logos, so that the world may come forth. Because of that great sacrifice, the limitless become limited, boundless became bound, formless became formed. The eternal, omnipresent, omnipotent, that power, the God, what we are saying, omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient, he became bind. He was formless, but he has taken a form. That is a great sacrifice. So sacrifice is in our nature. We should not be afraid of giving. The more we give, the fuller shall be our life. Each act of giving makes us a larger reservoir. When you give, you are open for giving. When you are open to it, then you are open to receive also. So that is the thing. We should not be afraid of giving. The more we give, the fuller shall be our life. Example, a simple example, we will go to science. Plants gives oxygen. And with that oxygen, we respire, we inspire the oxygen, and then we live. The whole world, the whole life depends upon this oxygen. So what plants give that oxygen. That is not that's not all actually. We give carbon dioxide, and then the plants prepare their food through photosynthesis. So this is interchangeable. So you give something, and that is a joy of life. So the law of sacrifice, I'll narrate one story about life of Gautam Buddha. When one of his previous lives, he was walking through a forest, and he saw one lioness thing. She was very from so many days or months, she was hungry, and she had this cubs. They were also, because of she was hungry and she didn't get food, she couldn't fed her cubs. So the Lord Buddha, he was so compassionate, and he was so in his the law of sacrifice, the nature is the true nature, the divinity was so powerful that he thought that he should sacrifice himself for the cubs, for the lioness, and then he went near to that poor animal, and then he sacrificed himself, so that when that lioness ate him, and then he could fed her cubs. So that is the sacrifice people made to progress in this path. So when sacrifice is not one-way traffic, it's a connection with the nature. It connects us to our higher self. Once we realize that, we are part of a mighty unity, then the real joy of living comes. All the small pleasures of world which once were attractive fade away in the glory of the true living. Then I would like to quote from Light on the Path. He who loseth his life shall find it unto life eternal. So if we think that we have lost our life and we have lost everything, then that is not true. So if we lose the life, that is not actually true. We will gain the life, eternal life. So when we are doing any sacrifice for any family members, or for our society, or for our fellow being, for the world, for the humanity, then that is not that we have lost lost our life, or we have lost everything. As suppose we have given gold, then we are thinking that we are losing gold. If we are thinking that if we are giving some property to somebody, then we lose it. And similarly, it not happens with the spiritual life, it's not happens in the higher life. When you give, you receive. When you love people, when you giving it, no, when you are giving, when you love others, then the divine love flows through you, so that you are becoming a channel through which the love and the power, everything just flows. It goes on and on. So in this process, if we are leaving something, then it is not like we are leaving. In the Light on the Path, it is there. I mean, when see, if you want to reach to the top of a 5-story building, when you step in a first staircase, first step, when you start the first step, and you think that, and you take the second step, if you will not leave the first step, you will not reach to the second step. So like that, when you leave things, when you leave, then you attain. When you leave behind all the things, then you will reach to that level. We know that in the we have 7 planes, we say. If we will be attached to the physical body or in the physical plane, then we can't reach to the astral, we can't feel or we can't experience what is in the astral plane. If we are attached to the astral plane, then we will not reach to the mental plane. So like that, when we grow in the spiritual life, also in this spiritual path, when we attain one suppose we have one desire for power, we understood it that this is not permanent, this is just temporary, then we leave it, and then we strive for something else, something higher. Like for spiritual power, first we were striving for physical power, then we understood it, then we strive for economic power, then for social power, then every desire will die, and then we strive for spiritual power. Yes, that is not wrong thing. It is important for your evolution process, but that is still a desire. So you will be attached to it. So here what she is saying, so what animation, Madam Animation says, you have to leave everything. Whatever you are feeling, you feel that it's me. I can't live without it, but it's not true. Above that also something is there you can live for, worth living for. So that is the thing. Slowly we grow, and when we think that this is the last thing, this is the end, then you feel that no, this is not the end. Something higher is there, and when you reach to that level, then you feel that this is the end, but that is not the end. So why I'm telling all those things is, when you sacrifice the lower things, lower natures, then you can grow. So that is the thing. So for that, I'll narrate one story. In a bottom of a pond, there were so many insects were there. They were living, they were dying there, and they were thinking that it was their life, it was their world, and beyond that, nothing is there. But every now and then, one insect will there were in that pond so many lily stalks were there, which were in the bottom, and it was going up to the pond, and every now and then some insects were climbing that lily stalk, and they were not coming back again. So nobody understood that what is happening here, and who is climbing the lily stalk, he is not coming back again. What is beyond there? What is there? Why they are? So then they had a meeting. Then their leader was there. So he told that I promise you that if someday I'll climb that lily stalk and I'll go above, and but then I'll come back and I'll explain you what is there and what is happening. So they decided it one day. So every day they were somebody was climbing, some insect was climbing, and it was going. Then one day that leader was there, the insect. He climbed on the lily stalk and went, and and he just arrived on the lily leaf, and slowly he could feel the sunlight, he felt the warmth, he felt the cool breeze, he could feel the air flowing, and then slowly he felt that he grew some wings. And after that, it was a so amazing feeling. What he did is he started flying, and that was a very great experience. Then he was thinking that, okay, I will now I have promised my this all the fellow insects that I'll go back and I'll explain them what is happening. But he knew that he couldn't go back. So that is the thing. When we think that this is my world, this is my life, and you give it up, then you are reaching something higher, you are attaining something higher. So here what Madam Anniversary is explaining, that the meaning of spiritual life and the method of spiritual life, we understood that what is the meaning of spiritual life. So what are the methods? The methods are to understand, to gain the knowledge, to understand what is the reality behind that, and the realization, and then duty. how you are completing your duty in this world, and then not expecting anything in return, renouncing the result of action. That is the first step to the sacrifice. And then finally, sacrificing yourself, sacrificing your desires, sacrificing, you can say that sacrificing your desires, sacrificing your ambitions, so that you can grow more. You can grow in the path of spirituality. So that's all. Thank you so much. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. Thank you, Brother Shikhar, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Smita, for sharing with us about this subject, a very practical subject, and a subject, I think, about which there are a lot of doubts, confusions, and also there are so many approaches to it that a person who may be a new aspirant may get lost in so many different types of interpretations. So you explained very nicely that what is the method and meaning of spiritual life. It starts with sacrifice of that immutable principle, when that boundless principle sacrifices itself and takes a form, and then everything goes back into it. So similarly, first half of the evolution, we grow by taking, that is the pravritti marga, and the second half, in which we grow by sacrificing, that is the nivritti marga. So thank you so much. And now we have among us many theosophists, senior theosophists, and I think it would be, and even some new young theosophists also, it would be really great if anyone would volunteer to share their understanding about the spiritual life, or what is a spiritual life as per their own understanding and what has been their experience. And we have Dr. Hemant Kumar Sharma.
Yes.
Yes, sir, please.
Sir, if you permit me, very politely, I want to make an observation as well as I want to put a question before the learned speaker.
Sure, sir.
As
sure.
she described the power, I mean here spiritual power as well as psychic power or psychic energy in terms of Freudian psychoanalysis, libido, not necessarily pleasure, but for the benefit of society, for benefit of human being. How to develop this energy, this psychic power in our children, our adolescents, our youth, as I am teacher regarding my students, so that they can attain higher goals in the life at the height of the humanity, and how to reduce or overcome the negative emotions, so that in our self-realization, we have to excel our positive attitudes, positive affect, as well as our positive actions. So in terms of psychic power, and with particular respect to the Theosophical society known as Brahm Vidya, how can we develop or how can we teach? We can inculcate the cultural or moral values in our behavior, in our attitudes. Regarding this, I want to have throw some light on this aspect. Thank you very much, sir.
So, sir, you want
Yes,
to
thank you.
know that, I mean, how we can inculcate whatever you have studied in theosophy?
Yes.
So, okay, sir. First thing is, sir, understand. No, I mean, we are reading, we are
Right.
studying theosophy. First thing is study, and
Right.
then what we are just telling in the theosophy every time, everybody is telling this, every session, this thing always comes like study first, then understand. You gain the knowledge, you just understand it. Not like if you will say that you means suppose laws of karma, okay, and if you will do bad karma, then you will face its consequences, okay. But this thing is misinterpreted, like if you will do bad karma, then you will next life you will be born like an animal. So this is not a proper knowledge. So first thing is knowledge, then to analyze it. What is the logic behind it? Just analyze it, understand it. What is the truth behind it? Then try to understand, try to inculcate it in your day-to-day life. If you will not understand things properly, if you will not analyze things properly, then you will do mistakes. So proper knowledge is important, and after that was proper knowledge, analyzing logic means what? Meditation. What is for if Dr. Anivesen said this thing, if J. Krishnamurti wrote this thing, then what is the meaning of it? Just try to understand, contemplate, meditate, and not that, act on it. Then slowly, when you do mistakes, normally everywhere it happens. When you do mistakes, you will learn from that. You will have experience on it. Then you will slowly understand that what the mistake you did last time and what mistakes you will need to avoid this time. So you can do it.
Thank you, Dr.
Right,
Sharma ji.
thank you.
Thank you, Smita ji, for raising this issue. Actually, I would also like to add along those lines that psychic, that is because that is one of the perception that psychic powers, developing psychic powers is a measure of spirituality,
Right.
which is in fact not. And logically also, if we think, because psychic powers can be developed without being ethical, without having a selfless attitude, because there are certain methods with which they can be developed. But imagine if they are developed without removing the seed of selfishness from our heart. One day maybe we keep using it for the welfare of the people, but someday when there is a clash of motives, or when I want something for myself, do you think I will not use those powers for my personal benefit, even at the cost of hurting others? So that is why in theosophical studies, it is very, as also Sister Smita mentioned, that it's not important or necessary at all to have psychic powers to grow. But what is, and actually they are an obstacle, which if the person is not really pure-hearted, they will lead the person down along the path, because sooner or later the person will use them for selfish ends, and that is the end of it. So there are many people, organizations who are promising developing psychic powers, but they do not tell the disadvantage or the problems created by them. They will come automatically but once the person is ready, and when the nature thinks that the person has reached, automatically they will come to that person, and then he will or she will utilize it. But to develop them, or to try to develop them, then there is a chance that they can be misused. So just wanted to add to that, sir. Thank you for the question, and thank you, Smita. Okay. Anyone else who would like to share something? Dr. Sushma Srivastav ji or Professor
Myself,
Shinde ji.
Kamal Manoj.
Dr. Kamal Mohnot ji. Yes, please. Yes, yes.
It was a beautiful presentation, I can tell you. And क्या हुआ, सुन बंद हो गया?
नहीं, yes, yes, we can hear you.
You are hearing. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Actually, we have to be first selfless, and we should learn giving, as Smita said. Then we will do the things, and we should have the pure love in our mind that everybody should be oneness. Then it will be all right. Otherwise, psychic things or siddhya, and then they will do nothing actually. They cannot be helpful, as you said. I'm very much thankful to you and Shikhar Bhaiya and also Smita and all. It's a beautiful presentation and very good. I was very much impressed कि बहुत अच्छा है और शब्दों में बहुत कहना नहीं चाहती मैं बहुत कुछ, बस इतना ही कहना चाहती हूँ.
Thank you, Dr. Kamalji, for joining and sharing your feedback. And I request again, if anyone, Professor Shinde ji has unmuted himself, I will spotlight you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm very happy to listen Smitapragyan. Youth is always energetic, and she very in a simple manner, with energy and passion, explained the spiritual life and methods and meaning of spiritual life. Really, I congratulate her first. And also Sharma ji has inspired us how we can develop such psychic powers in our students so that will be helpful in their life. That is what he has concerned with. Being a teacher, he also wanted to tell to the student how we can develop. Yes, we can develop one thing. We can develop one power of focusing our attention. That is, we must teach to the student concentration. They must focus their attention. And that is what it is taught in Vipassana meditation. If we focus our attention on our sensation and we observe the mauna, silence, for 10 days and control our eating habit, then perhaps you will experience that what kind of power our mind has, what kind of power human mind has, and that is a psychic power. So wherever when you begin to observe your sensation, your mind becomes calm, and then you can control the mind, focus your mind energy to wherever there is pain, and that pain is lost. This is how mind over matter is the psychokinesis method, which is proved in the science also. So these methods can be taught to control their mind, and the same thing is taught in our spiritual life. As Prajna, what Smitapragyan has told us, that we must, and this topic is very nice, method and meaning of spiritual life. Prajna, I congratulate you for selecting this topic. It is really true. As human being, we must know meaning of spiritual life, goal of life, significance of life. Otherwise, we miss the opportunity that God has given us, this human life. So service and sacrifice, as you have said rightly, is the key to live such kind of life. And as Sharma has asked, methods for this, how this Indian tradition, there are 6 different schools of philosophy, as we know, and all are to control the mind, to purify the mind, to calm the mind. Hatha Yoga teaches method to control the body. Laya Yoga teaches method to inner tuning. Mantra Yoga teaches the method to calm our mind. Jnana Yoga teaches the method to control our thought. Bhakti Yoga teaches the method to control our emotions. And Karma Yoga teaches the method control our actions. So these can be taught in the schools and colleges to the students, and these must be emphasized. And the main way is, as we say, we must learn the lesson. We must teach them, inquire about it. Otherwise, students will follow just the traditional life, and they live in the world, and they live with the world, attached to the world, but never think to detach from the world. But the lesson that we must learn in this life, in the spiritual life, as Smitapragyan said, we have to live in the world, but not attached to it. That attachment brings pain and sorrow. So Bhagavad Gita also says, wise are not attached. So if you remember this, then we need not have psychic powers. They will come, as Shikhar Agniotri has rightly pointed out. They will come in the course of life if we lead this spiritual life, as explained very well by Smitapragyan. Thank you very much for this.
Thank you, Professor Shindeji, as always, for your wise words,
Thank you,
pearls of
sir.
wisdom. If anybody else would like to share something, otherwise we'll proceed for closing of the session today. Because yes, not only this subject is very practical, but it's also very thought-provoking, that sometimes our own thinking about it is challenged by what Sister Smita has shared with us from Annie Besant's article. So let us have later some more time to contemplate on it, think on it, and derive our own conclusions from that. And let us proceed for the closing of today's session. But before closing, in the continuation to today's session, today we had the session of method and meaning of spiritual life. The next Sunday, we are going to have some difficulties of inner life. Because starting from outer, going to inner, some difficulties of inner life, another very valuable booklet or lecture by Annie Besant, which will be shared by a young Indian Theosophist, Pradeep MS, next Sunday, same time. So please do join us for that. And now let us proceed for the closing prayers. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu, Sarvesham shantir bhavatu, Sarvesham purnam bhavatu, Sarvesham mangalam bhavatu, Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, Sarve santu niramaya, Sarve bhadrani pashyantu, Ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhave. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you all. Thank you, Sister Smitapragyan, for sharing us with such a wonderful presentation. Thank you all delegates for taking time off and being with us today, and looking forward to meet you all next Sunday, same time, same channel. So have a great Sunday and have a great week ahead to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rekha ji. And closing the meeting. Thank you, Varun. Thank you, everyone. Bye.